Welcome back to No Crime After Dark, where we have to talk about crime in the daytime. Um, Keeping with this month's theme, everything is
Hmm.
going to be based around Halloween. Last week, we covered the Liskey family massacre. Um, that was out in Ohio. If you didn't catch it last week, definitely go ahead and check us out right here on YouTube or on TikTok for any reels or updates on anything. We just gonna go ahead and get into it. We've been real tired these last few weeks.
My God.
Just tearing our asses
It
up. But
feels like I don't know.
it's
Let me
like, is it 2024 yet? Can we just start over?
tired.
But this week we are going to be talking about um I
Rebecca
titled it
Gay.
The Who.
Rebecca Gay?
Yes, about Rebecca Gay. I titled it Hallow Evil.
Okay.
Because this it's very few stories that I when I'm watching it, I feel like, how did y'all not know this already? Like, because I was mad at her mom. You already know. I was mad at her mom. Like, I just was. But Rebecca Gay is our victim. All parties involved is her son Conway, her son's father Chad, her mom. Nope, that's her friend Andrea, her boyfriend Aaron, and her mom's boyfriend John White. Um,
And her mama Sally.
huh? Oh, and her mama
And her
Sally. I
mama
didn't write her
Sally.
name, but Mama Sally.
Sally.
Um, Generally speaking, everybody had positive stuff to say about her. Everybody was like, she was just real nice. Um, she was just focused on being a mom. She had Conway, so all she was worried about was taking care of her baby. She was in a relationship with Aaron, who happened to be the brother of a friend slash, I guess her manager is what it sounded
Worker or something
like.
like that.
Yeah, Andrea. So she had that going on with him, and she was dating her man and taking care of her son. Like, that's all she cared about.
Mhm.
Um, so on December 30th, 2012, Rebecca talked to her mom for a bit after doing her thing for the day. They said she was real excited about Halloween. They didn't say what store she worked at, but apparently the store carried Halloween
Decor.
decorations or whatever. Yeah. So she was real excited to set up and decorate and everything because, again, she got her baby. They said they had got a bunch of scarecrows in one of their shipments. She bought like 11 of them to decorate
Mhm.
her yard with. So she was just real geeked, and then she was excited to take her son out. Her and Aaron were going to take what else? Conway out trick or treating.
Mhm.
But first, he was going to spend the day with his dad, and then they were going to go get him and then spend the rest of the day with him that way.
Mhm.
So she talked to her mom briefly the night of the 30th, and she also talked to Aaron before she went to bed.
Yeah.
Um, the morning of October 31st, she was supposed to go to work. She didn't show up for work. That wasn't normal. And I always say, I hope my job cares this much if I don't clock in. When
Right.
stuff like this happens. Like, again, her friend was her manager at the same time. So it was odd for Rebecca to not call, even if she was going to be just a few minutes late. She would always call and let them know,
Yeah.
I'm running behind, whatever. So immediately, Andrea was like, nah, this is a little off. So
Mhm.
she calls her brother Aaron and like, hey, you heard from Rebecca? And he like, I talked to her last night and
Mhm.
she's gonna go to bed. Like, that's the last time I talked to her. So she calls up to the store, um, and has one of the co-workers go by the house. Now this is what I thought was funny. She calls the dude and was like, hey, I need you to go by Rebecca's house and basically do a wellness check. She didn't call out. She's not at, because he called her and told her Rebecca didn't show up.
Mhm.
So she calls back, tells him to go check. I need you to go by her house and just make sure she's straight. He like, we don't even know where Rebecca live. So
So
how am I checking on her?
Right.
Where, I'm just supposed to walk up and down the street till I see something that look like it might be her
Rebecca.
house. Like I don't even know where Rebecca live. So she remembered that Rebecca bought all these scarecrows, and so she sends him to this general trailer park and is like, look for the trailer with all the scarecrows in front of it.
Yeah.
So go. Sorry, because she wasn't worried about me till I came and sat in here. Um, so they go down. to the trailer park. They eventually find Rebecca's trailer. They trying to get in. Doors and stuff is locked, so they can't get in. No, that's not right.
They do. Yeah, she didn't.
They got in, yeah, because that's how they felt. No,
No. He didn't get in. He
the
called her
police
back
did.
and said,
Yeah,
he's not here, but her car is at the bar, or whatever it was called.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this bar, they said they could see the bar from her trailer. So this was pretty close. They said it was only a couple hundred yards away from her trailer. So almost immediately, right away, they calling the police. No, actually, no, I take that back. I was getting ahead of myself. So the friend or the coworker goes to the bar and speaks with the bar owner, who is also this is what tells you how small this town is, because I wrote that down. This is in Isabella County, Michigan. They said it's near Mount Pleasant. But the town is so small that the owner of the bar is also Rebecca's landlord. So they go over to the bar, talk to him. He opens up the trailer for them so they can get in and see what's going on. They don't find Rebecca, but they find her purse on the kitchen table. So at this point, they call the police. When the police get there, they can't go in yet. They don't have any search warrants because she's not considered a missing person yet. So they just basically do a walk around in her car. They describe that as a disarray, but couldn't really get much from the inside of the house. And I'm gonna let you take it from here because I feel like I talked the whole time for the last one.
So they did find out that she needed to pick up her son from her baby daddy, and they have a meeting spot, which would be like a grocery store, I guess. And so the police officers went there to see if she would show up, which she didn't. And that's when they were like, okay, this is not right. Something's up, because she's not going to not forget her baby. Like, she's going to pick up her baby.
I promise I thought about you when they said that, because they was like, well, we can't declare her a missing person, or we're not going to declare her a missing person until after the pickup time. And if she doesn't pick him up, then we know something is wrong. And I'm like, if that ain't tied, because that's what I would go off of. Like, look, if she don't pick up DJ,
then we got a problem.
She's missing. Something's wrong.
Something's stop her, and we got to figure it out.
She'll forget a lot of things, but she ain't gonna forget.
But they ain't gonna forget my baby. That's right. She ain't gonna forget that baby. And so that's when they got the warrant. So they got to enter her house and search her car. And when they got in the house, they noticed that her purse was there, which a purse that Aaron bought her boyfriend bought her, that she absolutely loved. I mean, might be a cute designer purse. We don't know.
No, she said it was I think she said the brand. It was like Louis Vuitton or it was like one of the bigger brands.
Like a name brand purse.
Yeah, she was like, there's no way she left that purse.
Right. And she was always talking about how she was gifted the purse by him. So when they went in the house, they noticed that the purse was still there, and that was not normal for a purse to be there if she's gone, like a regular gone, not like taken away. Or taken away. And then they noticed that her bathroom rug looked like it was washed. At first they said it was damp and wet, but I was like, well, she could have took a shower. She steps out, it's damp. But he said it looked like somebody was trying to clean it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not a good sign. And then they interviewed. I didn't hear what they found in the car. It was nothing in the car.
No, what they found in the car once they got the arrest warrant, or not the arrest warrants, the search warrants.
Yeah.
Once they were able to finally declare her as a missing person, when they got into the car, the driver's seat was too far back, and they said she was real petite, meaning she's short. That's like getting in my car. I come up missing, getting in my car, and it's all the way in the back seat. No, unless Paul was driving it. No. So that was a big red flag, because and they said that they was like, based on the information they had about her, it wouldn't have made sense why her seat would have been that far back, and she was the last one to drive it. And so naturally, in any murder case, they got to start questioning people, and the first person they question is the spouse. So Aaron was the first one they talked to. They said from jump you could tell he was visibly upset. They asking him, and he told him the same thing. He told his sister, like, we talked on the phone for a bit before we hung up. The last I knew, she was getting ready to get into bed.
No, it was I sent her a text message this morning, but it was green and wasn't blue. I said, you better let them know.
Then the police officer did say, he was like, that was a minor detail, but it was important enough for him to notice. Yeah, like they said, either the phone was turned off or it was just, it didn't have no signal, because that's what it'll do. It'll change that bubble color based on what's going on. So shout out to Aaron for noticing that.
The phone is dead. It has no signal. She blocked me. It's something. It ain't no just her phone ain't work. Like that ain't that's not it.
And then the fact that she never responded on top of that is probably why that stood out even more.
Yeah.
So then they ruled Aaron out. It just didn't seem plausible. So the next person they go to is her baby daddy. And they talking to Chad, and Chad is like, I mean, we ain't together, but we ain't got no beef. Like,
right.
It ain't no big deal. Like, we just raise our son. We do what we can for our son. And they told him he didn't know much about her whereabouts before all of this happened, other than the conversation and plans they made for her to drop him off or drop Conway off to him. And they said that he seemed agitated in the interview, but they said it was because he like, y'all, I can be out there looking for her instead of sitting here talking to y'all.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, because it's like, I didn't do it, so what the fuck you need to talk to me for? So, but he did mention, after they just decided to kind of get off the subject of questioning him so much, they asked him about the drop off, like, what was the plans, what time are they supposed to meet up,
Yeah.
And he said when he arrived at Myers, I don't know what kind of store this is, but it's a store.
It's Myers is like a Target.
Okay.
Like a Target.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when we was in Michigan, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was. We seen it. It was by the Walmart. It was right.
I must have never paid attention, because we was always at that Walmart.
Yep. It's like a Target. Like
okay. Not everything. So Chad was telling them when he got to Myers that morning, Rebecca wasn't the one that dropped Conway off. Her, I guess you can say
stepdad or Sally's boyfriend.
We'll say Sally's boyfriend, because it don't sound like they was married. John White is the one who dropped him off. Now, apparently, John...
It has happened before.
Yeah, they said every Wednesday was a regular thing for him to drop Conway off to his dad, because she would have to work. So it wasn't odd to Chad that John was dropping him off. So he just got his son and on about his day. And he didn't think anything was wrong until 4:30 when she didn't come get the baby. So as we stated, John was dating Rebecca's mom and had been together for 6 years when all of this happened. So of course they moved from Chad to John. And what I like about the last week's story and this one, they got this shit done quick. I wish every murder case could be solved this fast.
That easy.
Like they got that stuff done quick.
3 days.
John
3 days is what it's
like it literally 48 to 72 hours. He's already booked and charged and went to court. Like they got it done. John stated the morning of the disappearance, he walked in Rebecca's trailer. Now the assumption is she knew he was coming, because he's supposed to be dropping the baby off. He said he announced himself when he walked in. She yelled back. She was in the shower, in the bathroom, doing whatever. She yelled back, like, hey, just gonna grab a blanket, lay down until it's time to get up and get the baby. He said the last he heard from Rebecca was when she was leaving. She told him bye and told him to turn the heat down, and that was the last he heard from her.
So what was strange to me was they said that John lived in the third row trailer behind?
He lived within the trailer park,
Okay. Why do you need to come over so early to take my son? Like, you fell asleep.
You're walking pretty much walking across the way.
Right. You could have just came over. I could have been like, hey, I'm about to leave. And you could have just came right over. It's like, not like you needed to sleep over here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you only live around the corner? Not even around the corner. You live, and it's like, you can see.
It probably was around the corner if it was 3 rows.
I'm saying like you could probably see her house from your
From,
from your trailer. Like I didn't think that was necessary. So that kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, yeah, no, you didn't
yeah,
need to
that
be
don't
there.
make sense.
But okay.
And his claim was he never actually saw her.
Saw her, yes. He just heard her.
It was just the exchange from across the trailer. So he said he was already laying down when she left. He went back up to sleep, and he said about 8 o'clock, Conway came and woke him up.
Mm-hmm.
He got him dressed up in his Spider-Man costume and he said Conway was excited about going trick or treating.
Mm-hmm.
Got him in his Spider-Man costume about 8:30. They headed out, and that's when they met up with Chad. So while they were interviewing John, they noticed he had a scratch on his nose and on his hands. And when they asked him about it, he said he was working on something in his trailer, and a shelf fell and scratched his nose. Now, this is what was weird to me. If you in your trailer, 9 times out of 10, said shelf probably has something on it. I can't imagine a shelf falling on my nose and all it does is just scratch it.
Right. I feel like you have like a black eye or
not something.
Yeah, not
just something like, and then it's not gonna just miss your whole forehead and only hit your nose.
Yeah.
So that was what was odd to me.
I mean, I don't know, but I just was like, okay, sir.
For somebody who's had a broken nose, it's very hard to have any type of It's very hard to have any type of injury to your nose and it not affect
anything else.
Yeah. So
or to your face and not affect anything else. Because I got hit and I had a knot here and then it moved down. I had 2 black eyes. So
I mean, that's possible because and all of it's connected. That showed what is it? The eyes, ears, nose, and throat. All of that is connected. So that's highly possible. But they go to his house to verify his story of the shelf. And they said, based on what they could see from how he explained it, it seemed plausible. It made sense to them once they actually looked at it. So, a lot of people like John. Now, John was a minister at one of the churches. And although I have a different outlook on church at this point in my life and have had for some time, I just hate that. I feel like this is why some people or most people have a side eye to church, because you get these random stories like this and it's assumed that everybody's like that or you can't trust them because of that. And I feel like you can't trust nobody. I don't care if it's a church.
That's how I feel. Like no one's perfect. We know y'all got some bullshit in here, just like there's some bullshit down the street. Like it's just bullshit, just it is what it is.
Yeah. So a lot of people liked them. They didn't have no problems with them, but then you had them people that was like, buddy, weird. They was like me, just he weird. I can't tell you exactly what it is. He's just weird.
But so this wasn't that long ago. I mean, well, it was more recent to look it up.
It was just barely 10 years ago.
Yeah. So you guys are saying that the man got out of his prior, let him become minister, and you say he's gonna be good. He's gonna be a good candidate for a minister.
Yeah. So that they touched on that. They touched on that. Big part of Christianity is forgiveness. So if you're trying to do it right, you're supposed to forgive that person's past and whatever. And based on
I forgive you,
but
you can't be at church with
he didn't tell him the whole story though. He didn't tell him the whole story. So that's also another side of it. They just knew he had been to prison. They didn't know what he did.
You can look him up.
So they're trying to be forgiving. He had already got his minister's license in prison. So he was just looking for a church to be at, and they decided to take him in.
Okay.
That's why I said I have my own personal opinion about church. But like I said, don't judge me, judge your mama, because I grew up in church, so I am entitled to said opinion. Because I've seen some shit go down. But so just after noticing he was just being a little off in the interview, and after talking to different people and getting opinions, typical, let's go take a polygraph. I mean, come on, what can it hurt? We're just taking a polygraph. And John said, no, I'm not gonna do it.
I won't do that.
Not gonna do it. But after talking to Sally, Rebecca's mom, she's like, if you ain't got nothing to hide, just don't do it. It's not a big deal. Do what you gotta do, get yourself cleared so they can move on to the next person. So I feel like well, not I feel like Sally convinced him to go do the polygraph. I feel like, knowing what I know, he should have just stuck to his no. Like, you should have just ran with what you started with. So, him and the detective are riding to another county to go do the polygraph. Because again, this is in rural Michigan. I'm sure whatever their police station had wasn't enough in terms of polygraphs and all that. So they had to take him over to the next county to do the polygraph. So while they riding in the car, the detective, like, I'm trying to get familiar with him, make him feel comfortable, asking him about his past and his upbringing and all of that. And eventually, John admits that he had a criminal background. And he has served 2 years for attempted murder. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Whatever the lie was that I started with, that's the lie I'm sticking with. It's your job to figure out the truth. If I'm trying to keep something, I'm not going to tell you nothing. As a police officer, it is your job to check my criminal record. I'm not giving up shit. Yeah. I'm not telling you nothing. So, while all of this is happening, I'm sorry, he served 2 years for that. And then the charges were dropped because he said he felt like his attorney should have presented a insanity plea.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. So whatever appeals he filed, they got passed, and they said that the state prosecutor could have retried it. They chose not to. So he just got released with time served.
Yeah.
And the court system dropping the ball. But while all of this is happening, there's a trooper at the trailer park, because of course now she's an official missing person. So they got somebody there just to see if she comes back, whatever. And as he's patrolling the area or the trailer park, he pulls up on John's pickup truck, and he looks in the bed of that pickup truck, and he finds what looks like blood and a necklace. And they said the necklace was still clasped where it's supposed to be, but it was broke. So that shows ripped off by force. Yeah. So while he's doing the polygraph test, they file for a search warrant. Now, it's got to be about 6,000 people between these two counties, because they got that search warrant real fast.
Yeah.
Like, who's working 24 hours? Because he said this is like 2-3 o'clock in the morning when all of this is happening.
Yeah, but they will go to the judge house and have them sign over sign the paper.
This is true.
Yeah. I mean, depending on like the urgency. So they probably like, hey, wake up, we need you. You gotta get this shit done. This man's crazy.
Yeah. So, needless to say, John failed the polygraph test.
Not him holding the paper.
And they should have known it was him. He just looked weird, killerish. Like, when they start showing pictures of him, I'm like, the ghetto. So while they're waiting on the warrant to come back, they just detained him pretty much, and they just continuously question him, trying to get him to tell the truth. And at this point, John's sticking to his guns, and he's just like, nah, I don't know. So then they ask him, like, well, what do you think happened to her? Oh, she was abducted. That's what I think happened.
Somebody stole her.
Somebody took her. That's got to be what it is. Ain't no other reason.
No. I remember somebody.
So at this point, they got pictures. They done got it back to where they needed to go of the truck and everything. So they start showing them pictures of the truck. And like she said, where my notebook at? He looking at the pictures of the truck. It was like, what is that, John?
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Looks like blood.
Maybe it looks like blood. Hold me out.
She had to use the bifocal. And now they start digging into this attempted murder case, because now we got blood in the back of your truck. You admitted to a previous crime. We got to see what's really going on with you. What they ended up finding out was that, what did they say? It was like 30 something years prior, or 20 something years prior. They didn't give a year because I tried to keep
For
that
the
down.
for the girl. The
Yeah.
woman. Mm-hmm.
But way back when, they found out he had a 17-year-old neighbor that he invited to his basement. And when she got there, he stabbed her 14 times. And apparently, before finishing stabbing her up, before she got out, because thank God the girl survived, she was able to get out. He told her, and I'm sure with a straight face, I hate for you to go this way, but I mean, you're just a woman.
He had mother issues.
After I recovered from my 14 stab wounds.
Well, you was running his ass down. That motherfucker got
Oh,
chased.
well, you just a woman. What? You ain't even got a real problem with me. It's just because I'm a woman.
Woman,
What?
right?
Like, are you serious?
And I'm not even a woman. I'm only 17.
I'm
still
17.
a
I ain't even
child
got all the way
sometimes.
there yet. So 14 years after that is when he attacked Teresa, did the 2 years, because that was the other victim's name. He attacked her, did the 2 years, and then was released. The woman he attacked, the 17-year-old, her name was Vicky Sue Wall. I think I got that correct in the right way. Oh no, that's not the same person. Teresa was the one he attacked.
But she didn't
in the basement. Vicky Sue was another.
Vicky's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, Vicky was another victim. So he actually had 3 priors before Rebecca came up missing. Vicky Sue Wall, she was 26 at the time. She worked with John. Apparently they was messing around, and they would just meet up from time to time to do things that people that's messing around do. And this night, I'm gonna assume it was probably coke, because that's probably what it was at that time. Because this is like in the 90s. So that's about what my assumption is. It was 94. Don't quote me on it. That's just my personal thought. He said they were doing drugs. She was doing drugs. He gave her the drugs, whatever the case was. She OD'd. Now, unlike a normal person and taking her to the emergency room, or hell, even back home, just anything, he took her body into the woods and left her there. And this was in Kalamazoo, Michigan, on July 11th, 1994. 2 months after she disappeared, her body was found, but it had decomposed so much they couldn't actually say what the cause of death was. So all they really could do was go off of what he said was she OD'd. He felt like she was already dead, so he just dumped her body, kind of thing. So they couldn't charge him with murder, but he did plead guilty to involuntary manslaughter. He spent 12 years from 95 to 2007. So it only took him, 5 years?
See what I'm saying? You live in a, okay.
So it only took him 5 years, somewhere between 2007, because they said her and his mom had been together 6 years. Oh, and here's the catch. They met each other online.
That was coming out of my mouth right now. And I literally was about to say that right now. But
she said I was lonely.
I mean, people lonely, I get it, but god darn.
This goes back to just letting whoever in your house and around your kids go. So, and then while he was in there from 95 to 2007, that's when he got his minister's certification. So once the police got the warrant and was able to go into John's house, they found a rubber mallet. They said it was in a bag, some zip ties. Go get in your bed. Some zip ties and the construction quality size garbage bags. And they said a size extra small women's panties in the trash can, which based on Rebecca's description and size, that would have been her size.
Would have been her size.
So again, John, this is for about that 4 or 5 hours they had him in question, and he held on to it wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
But then the detective got smart. He just like, look, bruh, I really think you should, for Sally's sake, just tell us what's going on. Like, if you really love Sally, give her some peace of mind so she can know what happened to her daughter if you really care about her. Sally, he must have cared at least a little bit, because every time she tried to say something or every tried to convince him of something, he would do it.
Yeah.
So it meant something to him. So the way they said he called Sally reminded me of Harlem Nights. After the dude in Sunshine, and he called us like, hey, babe, put your mother on the phone.
No. I'm not coming back. Because he did. He called her and was like, I love you. But I guess this is it right here. Because I'm about to say all that.
He said, what's been done can't be corrected.
And I mean, and then he's sitting there with that damn tie. Take that damn tie off. I would tell him to take the tie off because I can't take you serious. And he with the suit on, and I just, this is done. And then not him trying to make a deal. I'll tell you.
Oh, okay, wait, go ahead.
I'm on life in prison, and I want to be secluded from everybody else. You don't tell what you're gonna do. You gonna
get life in prison, and I'm throwing you in there with all of them.
You're going to jail, sir.
Oh Lord!
I said no, you don't.
So November 1st, this is the very next day, and all of this is going on November 1st, actually, because they're interrogating him well beyond midnight.
Yeah.
Eventually, he admitted that he had been drinking. They said he had about 5 or 6 beers the night of the attack. And he was watching some urinals of people having relations with corpses.
Yeah.
And he said this intrigued him.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, well, not apparently, he admitted that he had been planning on doing something to Rebecca. He apparently just hadn't decided what.
Yeah.
But he was already thinking about doing something with Rebecca, or to Rebecca, I should say, because it wasn't with. Now, to go back in the order that they gave it to us, apparently Rebecca never felt comfortable around Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where the mom even admitted, and that's why y'all mama, some of y'all, but the mama was like, none of her kids, Rebecca included, none of her kids
wanted to deal with him,
liked him or felt comfortable being around him.
Mm-hmm.
And I know as a parent, in hindsight, that fucks with her, or because I don't know if she's still living or not. That bothers the hell.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to blame her per se, but it just goes back to what I talk about a lot when we have these kind of stories that we cover. It ain't always just about what you want, and more often than not, your kids gonna pick up on something before you do. Most situations, it's easier to see from the outside looking in.
If you want your relationship and with your man, but not your kids and not your grandkids, then by all means have a relationship. But don't expect us or your kids or your grandkids to want to be around somebody they don't want to be around.
Uh-huh.
Like you want to keep your same Thanksgivings, your same holidays, your same thing. You can't have somebody that
you can't have that and you don't want to be around him.
Right. You can't have that and have a person around that's making your kids uncomfortable, your grandkids.
Yeah. And the mom said she was like, I should have listened.
Yeah,
but again, I'm I say this all the time too. Nobody can foresee stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I just feel like people need to pay more attention when their kids tell them stuff, be it they younger, they old, because all her kids was grown at this point.
Yeah.
Then your kids, they mama, they gonna always look out for you. So you just need to take that into consideration.
You don't want your kids around.
Yeah. So he ended up admitting that he came in through her back door. When he came in, he already had the mallet in his hand. Rebecca got up because she heard the door open and close. He said as she was coming out of the room to see what was going on, he hit her upside in the back of the head with the mallet, and he just kept hitting her. He said he don't even remember how many times. He just kept hitting her. And he said at some point she turned over and said, I know who you are.
Yeah.
So then he took a zip tie.
And then he said,
I've never heard of this with a zip tie.
Okay.
He took a zip tie, tied it around her neck as tight as he could, then went and sat in the living room or wherever in the trailer and waited. He could hear her gasping for air and dying. Waited for her to die. Now, when asked, did he assault her after she died? He said, no. I remember I might have grabbed her breast, but that was it. Autopsy said he did it.
And then they think you did all of this while her son was in the room sleeping.
That's what my mind kept going back to. Like, so this didn't wake the baby up at all?
I mean, probably not, but I'm just saying, like, you didn't even
There's no
care.
regard. So once she was dead, and he did his business while she was dead, he went back to his house, got the trash bags, came back. What it sounds like is he either put her on the trash bags and drug her out that way, or tried to line the bed of his truck with the trash bags, and still some of the blood got through when he put her in the back of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
While she in the truck, apparently just dead, he's back in the house trying to clean the carpet. So that's the stain and the cleaning in the spot that they saw when they did the walkthrough. So then he takes her body to a ravine, and I'm not even gonna say a ravine. He dumped her on the side of the road. That's what it was. And even the police was like, they're not sure if he wanted her to be found sooner rather than later, to kind of let the case be over with, kind of thing. Because her body was kind of in plain view if you was going down that road. But after he dumped her body, he went back to her house. This is the problem I have. He kept going back to the house. Just leave and be done with it. You just
he had to take the baby. He had to take the baby to the daddy.
Huh?
He had to take the baby to the daddy.
I mean, yeah. But he went back to the house. Moved her car to the bar in the parking lot, backed it in over there, then went back to the house, laid down, went to sleep, then woke up and took the baby to his daddy. Do you know how mentally unstable you have to be able to do that?
And say, all right, come on, mommy's at work.
Like, just, yeah. I mean, went to sleep, though. Let me go get some rest in before I gotta take the grandson. Like, people are weird, bro.
Yeah.
So, March of 2013, John pled guilty to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 56 years, which at that time they said he was 55, so that's a life sentence. He's not going to make it. He didn't make it because 4 months later, he offed himself.
Because cowards do what cowards do.
That's what they do. That's what you could have did that before we wasted tax dollars on your trial. We just talked about killing folks and then killing yourself last week.
Yeah.
You when they started
before all this happened. Just
you said what?
I said they be knowing how they feel when before all the things happen.
And the fact that you've already spent 12 years in prison for something similar, so you already know what prison is like. Like, I don't condone offing yourself.
No, I don't.
But I feel like if you're gonna do the type of thing that he did and continuously did, and you're gonna off yourself anyway, you could have just did that before, like I said, before we wasted tax dollars.
Or before even hurting that girl, let her be home with her baby.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like. You know, I don't like that shit. When people, parents, they get taken away from their children, that shit bothers me.
Yeah.
People look forward to seeing, like she was so excited for Halloween. She was excited for her holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. That means the most when you have, those little faces.
And it was one of her friends on there. I felt bad for her because she said she still doesn't celebrate Halloween and she has kids. And I know that's hard for her to not be able to get into that spirit with her kids, because I have this tragic ass thing attached to that holiday. Like we said about Devin in last week's story, he was able to work past it. That friend wasn't able to.
Yeah.
So I guess my nugget for this week is, if you're gonna off yourself, just gonna do it. If you're gonna off other people, let me clarify. If you go off other people and then off yourself, just leave the other people out of it. Let me word it that way.
Yeah, word it that way.
Leave the other people out of it. Now that one might have got us banned.
Yeah, make sure you edit that right on out of there.
Yeah, no, just leave the other people out of it. If you're gonna, and we said it last week, these mass murderers and all of that. If you just go end up doing yourself anyway, leave the innocent bystanders.
The cool thing is, if he wouldn't have went to prison, do we think he would have did that to himself? No,
probably not.
He would have kept doing. You know what I'm saying?
Like he had been doing.
You're right. So him doing that to himself is just the cowardly way to say, I don't want to live with my punishment. I don't want to live with this
I like to think, because you don't get what you ask for after you kill somebody. He was in general population. Believe that. And I can't get into details about what I think was happening to him, but that's what he deserved. And that's probably why he offed himself. No, and we all know for the most part what happens to men,
those type of people, yeah,
that mess with children and women when they go to prison. So, like I said, I'm not going to go into detail, but I just feel like you get what you give, and that's why I say I feel like he deserved it. You get what you give. You put out hate, you put out hurt. That's what you deserve to get back. And you did it to the extreme. Not no typical, oh, you hurt my feelings. Like you put out some real hate and some real hurt to children, women, like you said. People look forward to spending holiday. You took Conway's mama from him. That 17-year-old girl, you fucking devastated her parents and her family. The girl that you
and the trauma, and imagine the trauma that the little girl that lived had.
Yeah, like you just out here ruining people's lives. Like that's not okay. So I feel like you put out good, that's what you deserve to get back. You put out evil, you put out mean, that's what you deserve to get back. So that's why when certain things happen to me, you'll hear me say, I mean, I just got to eat that one. I got to take that L. I just got to take it for what it is. But I guess my gem for this week before we close, I've said this before because it for some reason always seems to have something to do with moms and kids some kind of way. Be it your children or actual children, still kids and young and under 18, or your child is 42 years old. If they feel a way about the person you are dating, to the point that they don't even want to be in the same room with that person, you need to look at why. I ain't saying just break up with the person to cut it off immediately, but you at least need to experience or not experience, but examine why your kids feel this way.
Yeah. Act why.
Stop bringing people in your house that you just met online.
I just don't even know what to say. I feel like if you were online dating, you could have online looked his ass up.
You could have online met at Starbucks.
Right. You could have been like, hey, let me look this man up. I mean, I don't know.
I know it's a common thing now. That's how people are dating. We were one of the last few people that got married in the generation of you had to go out and meet people. Social media was just barely taking off when we was in the streets and dating, so we still went to the clubs or wherever, and that's how we met people. So even knowing that is the norm now, is still weird to me to be talking to somebody for a month or two online. Then y'all together, then they live with you. But anyway,
I personally feel like you have to be okay. Yeah. Anyway, that's just good.
Anyway, be safe. Watch out for yourself. Watch out for your kids. Pay attention to the signs, and we will catch y'all next week.
Yes.
Bye.